awards and achievements to her credit. I request Dr. Murugeshwari to highlight the objectives of the program.
Infancy, now welcome speech முடிச்சிட்டேன். Ma'am ஒரு நிமிஷம். Small cheer and a great welcome.
Awards and achievements to her credit. I request Dr.
Infancy.
Yeah, Chandramati ma'am, நீங்க proceed பண்ணுங்க ma'am.
Okay. A pleasant evening and a hearty welcome to you all. I gratefully remember the Almighty's grace bestowed on us as we succeed the one-week virtual faculty development program. It is indeed a great privilege for me to welcome the August inauguration gathering of PG and Research Department of English in collaboration with the Bharatdasan University on gender sensitization sessions. First and foremost, I extend my cordial gratitude for this occurrence. It is so gratifying for the workman and motivation from our respected principal, Dr. C. Veerababu sir. We are indebted and proud to have them to back us. Sir, your motivation really enlightened us. Welcome, sir. I feel related Dr. N. Murugeshwari, Professor, Department of Human Studies in Bharatdasan University, Trichy, who has she extended to operation. Pleasure in the University Trichy. Ma'am, you are truly an inspiration to the youngsters. On behalf of our department and myself, I welcome you, ma'am. It is my pleasant duty to welcome our head, Dr. P.D. Sylvia, department colleagues, and professors from various departments, colleges, and universities. I welcome dear friends. I welcome all the cheerful scholars and students. At this moment, infancy.
Ma'am.
Ma'am, objectives.
Words are rose petals that sprinkled with fragrance to invite one and all. I am much delighted to welcome Dr. Murugeshwari, Professor, Department of Women's Studies, Bharatdasan University, Trichy, a woman of versatile personality who has got many awards and achievements to her credit. I request Dr. Murugeshwari to highlight the objectives of the program.
Thank you. A very good afternoon to all. It is my immense pleasure to thank both the institution administrators for having the program, particularly faculty development program on gender sensitization. At the outset, I must welcome member syndicate, Bharatdasan University, Dr. Lily ma'am, and the principal of B.O. Chidambaram College, head of the department, and my faculty and the director head, Professor Manimekle ma'am, on who is talk about gender and socialization today. And behind my shoulder, Madam Chandramati is working nearly 2 weeks about this program, and she clarified so many things. So I welcome all the participants, particularly the Department of English, I feel very happy to say some words about the importance of this program. Today, this 1 week FDP on gender sensitization discusses about to the rising sensitization of gender equality concerns. Definitely, this course will help the people in examining their personal attitudes and beliefs and questioning the realities of both sexes. And gender sensitization make people understand the difference between sex and gender, how gender is socially constructed, and the stereotypes around the gender roles. It helps them determine which assumption in matters of gender are valid and which are stereotype. And this is the time to identify the need of gender sensitization, also helps to create awareness among the working professionals about the importance of gender sensitivity in organizations, workplace, educational institution, and so on. Without being sensitive to the needs of the particular gender, an individual may refrain from understanding the opposite gender. Because we know that gender is a socially learned behavior based on social expectation from men and women. So the women and children are most vulnerable group of this situation, particularly after COVID and during COVID also. So, and it is the undue pressure on boys and girls to live up to the established norms of masculinity and femininity. So girls endure that unwarranted social control or discrimination and domination. Always boys are discouraged from being emotional, gentle, or fearful. So this 1 week FDP on gender sensitization will give a clear and a precise view about gender. And this will help to understand that gender is not about women, it is about people. So we have 6 sessions from today, that is gender and socialization. This session deals with how does gender affect socialization or how gender roles are learned through the process of socialization. And the second day, we have the gender dimensions in STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and maths. And the third day, gender and media topic will cover, that is how does gender affect the social media. And the fourth day session will cover gender budgeting and auditing. In that session, the requirements of gender budgeting will be discussed. And fifth day, gender and literature, that is the relationship between gender and literature. Why is gender important in literature? All these matters will be discussed. And at the final day, towards gender equality, this topic will be discussed. That is, how can gender equality be improved in the society, or how do we achieve a gender equality in the society? So based on this perspective, we have framed the session from 3 to 4. I request all the participants, you please attend the program all the 7 days so that you are eligible to receive your certificates. So once again, I welcome you all for this 1 week FDP. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. May I have the privilege of requesting our head, Dr. P.D. Sylvia, the strong pillar of support and guidance of the Department of English, V.O. Chidambaram College, Thoothukudi, to preside over the function to render the inaugural address.
Thank you, Infancy. Respected Principal Dr. C. Veerabahu, Dr. N. Murugeshwari, Professor N. Manimekle, Department of Women's Studies, Bharathidasan University, Tiruchirappalli, Dr. M. Lalli, members indicate Bharathidasan University, participants from various colleges, my faculty members, and dear students, greetings to you all. Gender sensitization is the most important topics to deal with in the present day scenario, where people are quite unaware of and insensitive to the rights, roles, and responsibilities of the other gender. While violence against women and girls is a worldwide problem, and especially nowadays, almost everywhere. As a result, they become victims in the society from time to time. So gender sensitization is very much required to achieve gender equality in our society today. So we have some stereotyped gender construct in our mind. So we, without getting sensitized, we just ignore the responsibility of each gender in the society. So this gender sensitization is very much important. And in this context, I would like to share what Adichie, a Nigerian woman writer, shared in one of her talks delivered at TEDx Person, the yearly conference. So she reminds of an incident when she was 9 years old doing her primary school. When one of her class teacher, one day she asked them to begin the term by giving a class test, and whoever got the highest score would be the monitor. So for her, at the age of 9, class monitor was a big deal for her, because so if at all she becomes the class monitor, she can write down the noisemakers' names every day on the board, and she can walk around the class with a cane in her hand. So it was an exciting prospect for that 9-year-old girl. But to her, and she worked hard, and and she got the first mark also. But to her utter dismay, her teacher said that the monitor had to be a boy, and that a position was given to the boy who the second highest score on that test. And he became the monitor, even though he did not have any particular interest in becoming a monitor, in patrolling the class with the stick and all. So here, that stereotype to construct that a man alone can become a monitor, so that repetition, it becomes a habit, it becomes the tradition, and it becomes normal. So when we think in one point, when we think unconsciously that a headship can be given only to a headship can be handled only by a man. So if we keep seeing only men as the head of corporations, it starts to seem natural that only men should be heads of corporation. So thereby, when something is going on without proper realization again and again, the repetition becomes a tradition. Another incident that also the writer she quotes, that once when she was offering some money to one of the young gentlemen who helped her park her car, he, after receiving that money from her, he thanked the boy, that her friend, the boy beside her, thinking. So then she got the realization that if at all even if she gives money, that money also would have been the money of that particular boy. So he has construed in his mind that if money means, it would be kept only by men. If only men alone can be money makers, men alone can be money keepers. So they have such a preconceived notion in their mind. So without getting sensitization, these things, the people cannot understand understand that responsibility of women, or both men and women, in the society. So gender sensitization involves creating awareness about gender issues at all levels of the society, and makes people understand the importance of giving each other equal opportunity and treatment. It is the recognition of the roles played by men and women for the development of the society. So this gender sensitization, in this course of 7 days, it would sensitize people to realize their own stand in the society. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It gives happiness to praise someone who's most praiseworthy. Now, I call upon Dr. Lalli, Syndicate member, Bharatdasan University, Trichy, to spread the ray of happiness through a cordial words of felicitation.
Dr. Lalli, you are not audible.
Ma'am, Lalli ma'am.
Lalli ma'am, please unmute yourself. It is muted, ma'am. Please unmute yourself. Lali, you are supposed to unmute. It is muted. Let me make a call. இங்க host unmute பண்ணிருக்காங்களா? Will you unmute her? Sorry, it is muted here by the host, it seems. Dr. Lali speaking to me. Admin, please look into it. I don't know whether people are able to hear my voice.
Madam Chandramati ma'am.
Ma'am, this is
sir, madam நீங்க கொஞ்சம் அன்மியூட் பண்ணுங்க சார். மேடம் வந்து மியூட்ல இருக்காங்க. அன்மியூட் பண்ணுங்க.
வந்து ஹோஸ்ட்ல இருந்து
ma'am,
unmute பண்ணனும்.
Ma'am, she is co-host, ma'am. She can unmute herself.
You can you are the co-host, Lali. You can unmute yourself. Yeah, please.
Ma'am, Dr. M. Lali.
I heard this problem.
But no, it is not allowing her, she says.
Oh.
It is not allowing her.
Yeah, the same problem I had. Sir, you please unmute her, sir.
Ma'am, actually, I have given permission.
நீங்களே பண்ணிருங்க.
You are the co-host, it seems. You can very well come. That's what they say. It's not coming. Okay. They are doing.
Yeah, the same
Please
issue
hold.
I had. Sir, நீங்க அத பண்ணுங்க sir. Even the same issue I had.
Ma'am, இப்போ வந்து
நீங்க அத unmute பண்ணுங்க sir.
Ma'am, actually, I have given permission. I think அங்க பண்ணிரேன். நான் ட்ரை பண்ணிட்டேன் ma'am. அவங்க தான் பண்ணனும் ma'am. நான் ask to unmute கொடுத்திருக்கேன். Ma'am வந்து அத அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிட்டாங்கன்னா வந்துரும்.
Okay. Then I'll inform.
Let me try. I'll call her. I am calling. அவர் வந்து உங்களுக்கு பர்மிஷன் கொடுத்துட்டாராம். நீங்க எஸ்என் கொடுத்துட்டா உள்ள வந்துடலாமா? Yeah. Here not able to mute நே தான் வருதான். Still she has the same problem.
Ma'am, ஒரு தடவை அவங்க ma'am, better she can
you talk loudly. I am on her phone only. You tell her.
Ma'am, just you leave the meeting and you rejoin the meeting, ma'am. It will be okay.
You have to rejoin it, seems Lali. Please go out and come. Yeah. Yes, she will go. Leave and come back.
Yes,
Lali ma'am.
Yes, she has joined.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's okay.
Yeah. You are audible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, welcome ma'am.
Thank you. Distinguished chief guests, respected professors, participants, and my dear friends in the Department of Women's Studies. Good evening to all. First of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to the organizer, Dr. Murgeshwari Madam, for inviting me and give the presidential address. So gender is nothing but socially constructed, and it is a culturally based roles of men and women. To understand how unequal power relations between them are shaped and operated. And also the power relations are nothing but it will be built up in family, educational institution, workplaces, beliefs, norms, etc. Gender bias begins from birth. Women are discriminated in areas like access to nutrition, childcare, education, and work. The most painful devaluation of women is a physical and psychological violence that starts them cradle to grave. According to Shirley, the emotional, sexual, and psychological stereotyping of females begins when the doctor says it is a girl. So, schools and colleges and homes are also the basic sources of development of understanding of gender and gender relations. The broader goal of gender equality is a societal goal to which the educational institution must contribute to. Our education system needs to be gender sensitive and gender friendliness. Achieving the gender equality requires the engagement of women and men and also girls and boys. It is everyone's responsibility, said by Ban Ki-moon. There are various key issues are there. They are reproductive health, economic empowerment, educational political empowerment, women's work and economic empowerment, empowering women through education, legal issues like domestic violence and sexual harassment prevention, police response to women issues. So these are all the various key issues based on gender sensitization. I sincerely appreciate the organizer for planning this topic for gender equality in our society. So I congratulate all the educators in the field of women's studies for arranging this type of program to collaborate and integrate the various views in gender sensitization. I congratulate all the participants and my best wishes to all. I am very happy about you. May refresh your mind with good benefits from this FDP program. My sincere wish is to serve our society with gender equality. Once again, I wish you all and I express my sincere thanks to the organizer and the audience for patience listening. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am,
Thank
for
you,
your
ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
May I now invite Dr. Mercy Lada, Assistant Professor, Department of English, to introduce the keynote speaker and the session of today's program, Gender and Socialization.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm immensely happy to introduce Professor N. Manimehalai, Director and Head, Department of Women's Studies, Bharathidasan University, Tiruchirappalli. She has a broad spectrum of specialization. It includes industrial economics and developmental studies, gender and development and gender mainstreaming, inclusive strategy development for the marginalized and socially excluded communities, and entrepreneurship and skill development. She has carved a niche for herself as an academician. She has to her credit 124 research publications. She has 200 papers presented in various conferences, both national and international. And she has also 26 projects to her credit, and she has 52 citations. And presently, she is running 2 consultancies. She has also got many awards. It includes Research Award by UGC New Delhi, Independence Day Award, Young Economics Award, Best Social Worker Award, Young Achiever Award, Unnada Sadhanayalar Award, Lachya Penmani Award, Women's Day Award, Sadhanayalar Award in the year 2015 again, a core committee.
Thank
She
you,
is also
madam.
a core
Thank you.
committee member. And
It is enough. I think we can start the session. Thank you. Thank you.
okay.
Gender
So shall I start
stereotypes
now?
are
Yeah.
Gender stereotypes are socially constructed. Men and women are born equal. Gender disparity is an important issue in the countries round the globe. Gender sensitization is an attempt to make people aware of the logical understanding of the roles and functions of men and women and accept people without any presumptions. I am pleased to invite Professor Manimehalai, Director and Head, Department of Women's Studies, Bharathasan University, Trichy, to enrich us with her views on the topic of the day. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, at the outset, I congratulate and appreciate and thank Dr. Murugeshwari for the collaborative program with VOC College. Indeed, such programs are required, and it is also useful for the faculty colleagues on the one hand, by way of completing their requirements for the promotion, and also gender sensitization is a very basic requirement nowadays to the students. So in that background, I'm happy and also thankful to the college for collaborating with the Department of Women's Studies, and looking forward for more such collaboration in future, because it is possible to reach out more students when we collaborate with the college. And I'll just conceptually clarify some of the concepts before going to the gender sensitization proper. In fact, I have been asked to talk on gender socialization. So that is the first step as far as the gender socialization is concerned, that is sensitization. So here are a picture. There are 4 segments. I want to just make it clear the distinction between equity and equality through this picture. We are talking about gender equality, but what is required is equity. That is the first step to ensure equality. And this equity could be either, as far as this particular session is concerned or the discussion is concerned, it is the gender. So we are talking about gender equality and therefore gender equity. Whereas there are intersectional variables which could be like caste inequality or class inequality, that is the social inequality and economic inequality, because class is something to do with your income, caste is something your social construction or social norm. So apart from that, you have the religious inequality, regional inequality, racial inequality, and if it is other regions in the same country, we have people who are in the lowest cadre, like tribal community, the Dalit community. The inequalities are prevailing in the societies in a different dimension, which the bottom of all is the gender inequality, I should say, because the woman, whether she is in the very privileged community or in the very lower economic group or a social group, she will always face the problem of secondary status or subordination status, and that is applicable irrespective of whether they belong to an upper income or upper caste community, whatever, or majority religion or rural urban or white versus black or tribal versus non-tribal, whatever the division, the social division of society. And therefore, any point of time, you just imagine the society is just for the sake of simplicity, we have divided into 3. It can be a social group division of caste class, caste religion, or education group or age group, whatever. Class wise, it may be an economic group like higher income, middle income, lower income, religious majority, the middle and the minority, whatever. So there are, what I want to convey is that there are differences across the different social groups and economic groups, and therefore any facility or the developmental initiative should capture the requirements of each section of the population. And the question is whether it captures to all. So in the first instance, the society claims or state claims that you have been provided with equal opportunity. So because everybody is there, say 3 is equivalent to 135 million in the Indian context, let us assume. And after 135 million population, you have around 10 million belonging to the tallest, maybe it is upper income group or upper caste or majority religion, whatever. The middle one could be like any other division which is beyond that, whatever we have discussed, the middle income or the caste Hindus, whatever. The last one is the community which is a very, very vulnerable, marginalized, socially excluded, and belong to a lower income group, minority religion, rural area, tribal community, etc., etc. So I think now you understood the divisions in the society where the vulnerable is with the lower portion, who are not able to enjoy the benefits of development. And in this context, they are not able to see through the game which is happening the other side. Whereas the tall ones who are the dominant forces of the society in terms of privileged communities, it may be in terms of higher income groups, corporates, the majority religion, whatnot. And you are claiming that everybody has been given the same opportunity and it is their responsibility to just come up in their life without taking into consideration the disadvantages, historical disadvantages that they have been facing. See, in this classification, the one who is tall enough and very comfortable to enjoy the benefits of development can forego a bit in order to help the deprived communities, which has been shown in the third context. Middle one is able to manage. So the last one is not able to see. He is deprived of, or she is deprived of totally whatever the entire society is enjoying. This particular section is not able to enjoy. And therefore, it is the duty of the state to transfer the payments, what we call in economics, from the people, that is what you call rich to poor, and or from the dominant order to the deprived community, whatever. So that happens in the second segment of the picture, wherein the tall one is already enjoying the maximum even without that support, where the equal heights of benches were given in the first segment. Now he foregone that, but still he is able to enjoy the benefits of looking at the or watching the game the other side. And now see, a development is taking place. It is very, very pleasing to note how that deprived one is able to enjoy that. Here it is seeing the picture or the game, but in reality, it is like the development is reaching those deprived communities, the vulnerable, excluded, the Dalit, the tribal, the minorities, etc. We can bring, or lower income group. And so this is what we need. That's what I said. Equity should precede the equality. So the first and foremost, the aim of the society is to address the questions of equity and then move on to the equality. And whether we have achieved equity or not is itself is a question. Without understanding equity, and without attaining equity, whatever equality you bring in, say you are giving equal opportunity to everyone, may not be successful in addressing the kind of inequalities in the society. And therefore, gender equality, in fact, cannot be attained only by any quantitative measurement, like giving 1,000 rupees or whatever. Like now the government of Tamil Nadu in the latest budget introduced the concept of higher education, replacing or transforming the scheme, otherwise called as Thaliki Tangam Tittam, in colloquially called, but it was a marriage assistance scheme. So now the government is aiming at ensuring that the equality in higher education to be achieved. For that, what is now happening is 1,000 rupees per month per government college student, girl student, will be continuing higher education in any college or IIT, ITI, or even diploma courses. This is a news to you all, girls who are here, or boys, and you can disseminate this information to others. And earlier, the scheme was marriage assistance, wherein a girl who completed a degree or diploma or ITI will get 50,000 rupees for her marriage and also 8 sovereigns gold. So that comes to around 90,000. That means 0.9 lakhs. But now it is going to be like 30,000 because during holidays it won't be given. Only for 10 months it will be given, it seems, because I got it clarified from Social Welfare Department. So 30,000. But the another important aspect is that it is going to broad base the entire system, in the sense all the government school girls will be benefiting. So that will be the number. That there it will be, there the number will be higher. That is 3 lakh and odd students will be benefited, whereas in the earlier scheme it was only 1 lakh and odd. So that way it is not a budget cut there in the government, but rather to make them continue higher education. And once the higher education is proceeded, these girls will go to work also. It is a kind of a focus on addressing the inequalities in education and employment and employment also. So that is that's an equity attempt that the state is currently making. Like, let everyone be, because there are people who are comfortable enough to spend and pay all the fee in the private sector, in the private schools, and also join there in the private colleges. But these group of people, like the 3 lakh per annum, I told, in Tamil Nadu, 3 lakh girls are studying there in the government schools, and quite likely that they will discontinue after joining. Not all of them, roughly 1 lakh or less than 1 lakh only will go to higher education. And therefore, the initiative is to make these girls to join higher education. So that is a perspective. So in that way, I can give, this is a very current example of promoting equity, where giving 1,000 rupees, and that will definitely be where the government is taking the money from the tax payment or public sector contributions, etc. So that way, all the taxpayers are contributing this money. That is the tall enough person or very comfortable, economically comfortable person is contributing to the deprived, that is the government school girls, so that girls will be. And why just focusing on girls? It can be on other social group also, Dalit or tribal communities or boys who are not continuing higher education, etc. Since the girls' enrollment in higher education is lower, and it is to be, and more so is dropout of girls from school finals is very, very high. And that is the concern, though the general gap in higher education has been very low in Tamil Nadu context. So these are all, of course, we are talking about sustainable development, and these are all the initiatives by way of filling the inequities and inequalities. The government or the state is taking measures. There are other equally concerned issues, and but what is the reality? The reality is the third picture, where huge concentration of wealth. That is why we can't even see where the person is. So recently in the pandemic situation also, it was informed very much by the official statistics of the government that the corporates were making 40% profit, whereas the workers were rendered, millions of workers were rendered unemployed. So how paradoxical it is. Like, on the one hand, the corporates are making profit, that too in the very vulnerable pandemic context, 40% profit, whereas 500 millions of unemployed were also rendered unemployed. So this is the paradox. So let us see how this could be addressed. So given this inequality, is all the more challenging to concentrate on segment 2, that is equity. The final one is the liberation, wherein everybody can see what is happening and whatever the kind of development, and you will be equally getting benefited from the development. So what is required is the fourth one. That will take some time because it's a complete liberation. So another area of inequality, I think if the slides are not moving, please inform me. I'm moving to the second slide. So it is about the lie of the land, where a picture has been depicted to inform that the women and their work hasn't been properly accounted there in the national income accounting. So whenever you go and ask any woman who is not engaged in paid work, quote unquote, paid work means when I go to market and deliver my labor and realize some income only, it is called productive work as per the census of India, and it is considered as paid work. And whatever work you deliver, even more than worth of 1,000 rupees per day in the private space, in your own household, your own field, which doesn't get paid, is not considered as work, not considered as productive work, and because it is unpaid. So this is the kind of a major issue of concern. Recently, we again quote Tamil Nadu government, which 1,000 rupees will be paid for the homemakers. So there are controversies as to whether the government has to pay. Why should the government pay for the family, the work that is delivered in the private context, that is a family? These are all the kind of argument that is emerging. But the question in the economic context, being economic student, I would say it is in a larger interest of like counting the work and visibility, making visibility to the women's work. It is not the question of just making the payment and compensating for, but the care economy is completely where if all social reproductive activities are being delivered by the women, do not get accounted at all as work, quote unquote. And it is kind of recognizing their work. The government is coming forward to paying 1,000 rupees. And so if we have to see in that perspective, it is not really like why should the state make payment for the something which is happening at the private context or the family. If that is the argument, there is another argument also. So I go to the market, I work, I realize money, I earn. Why should I pay the tax to the government? I go to the market, I buy products, and that is for my consumption, which I pay from my earning. Why should I pay tax to the government? So this is a kind of counter argument that you will get. So that is not the perspective. The perspective is to make the women's work visible. See, I can show in this picture. The woman is first asked what are the work they do at home. They said, no, we don't work. It is the same question wherever you go in the context also. Our own mothers would say, those who are not going out for work in the paid employment, they will say, no, I'm not working. These are the conversations we regularly hear. And doesn't it is not just for Indian context, this is in the Western context also, because in this picture, the picture is being borrowed from the Western context, depicting the Western context. So they said, no, they don't work, but then keep on saying, like, they fetch water, find firewood, look after the cattle, prepare the garden, plant the seeds, do the weeding, the harvesting, and sell them off in the market, and cook meals, buy food in the market, food grains in the market, cook meals, and do all the household work, attend the women's group meetings for communal tasks, like making bricks. So it is not just the private work also. They do engage in the community work. Several self-help group women in Tamil Nadu or India, they are very much going and conducting meeting and they mobilize the people and contribute for the empowerment of the women in the villages. So it is a community service. And washing and mending the clothes for the children and raise, that's all. So all this work they are doing, but they claim that they are not doing any work. And so I'll show some of the pictures here. This is what the socialization, and then get a reflection if at all, if there is any time. Since it is an online meeting, I may not find time to show and ask and get a response from you because it will take time given the time constraint. So I'll be showing some of the pictures, and we have to discuss whether this particular picture suits to a man or a woman and whether it is sex or gender. That particular activity is defined as sex or gender, and also give reasoning. So if the pictures doesn't move, please tell me. I'm moving to the next slide, where women is performing a Silambatam. So my question is whether this picture suits to a woman or not. So the moment seeing a picture, I'm not giving you time to think over. You just tell what is the picture is all about, whether it is so it suits to a woman, whether it's sex or gender. This is the question we normally ask. So there will be responses because now we are online, and I'm just explaining the process in which I have had experience with others. So the people will say, no, this particular traditional game is meant for men, and therefore women cannot do. And it is risky, it will hurt them. So all these things will be explained. But the issue is it's not true. It is the women can perform Silambatam, and they are performing Silambatam. And traditionally, of course, I agree that it was only considered as a domain of men. But now women are started. Even in cricket also, yesterday also we were watching the women cricket were happening. And therefore, equally, they are performing in all the fields. And recently, the Olympic medals also, it was the women who brought more than men. Though more men had participated, it was all, the medals were mostly from women. And there were both men and women, but number of medals brought by women were more in India. And that too from tribal community, from Northeast more. So this is something gender. It is not that performing Silambatam is related to your sex, your biology, it is not given by nature that women should not perform Silambatam. Silambatam is one kind of a traditional game in Indian context, the Tamil context, where it was originally formed by them. Now girls are also learning. I see my own associations with community organizations, etc. Women are learning, the girls are learning this. Women climbing on the tree. So this is again, I have moved to a next picture where there is a woman climbing up on the coconut tree to extract the liquid that is being generated over the night. So this is again the moment you see, and even girls here also will see. Now we are all in South, so you must have got informed more than us, because there is a community in your own region that their main job is to extract this juice, whatever you call padani or kal, and sell it off or prepare value-added products out of it. So this can definitely be done by women, because it is a community particular. It's not that it is expected from all communities. The moment it is meant for one particular community, it is not that the women should not do or men should not do. Both men and women will be trained to climb up on the tree, and that had been done. Now it is all dying, and it's very difficult to see in the South, Tamil Nadu, that this kind of activity is all going. And it is almost on extinction, I should say. So, but the point is that they can definitely do this. And any woman who is given the opportunity to climb up will do definitely. I have recently, not recently, long back, to school where there was many competitions, and one competition was that the girls should climb up on the post, one kind of like the electricity post only. It doesn't have any hole like this. You have to simply climb up, and that was a girls' school also. So I was wondering how these girls are really performing, and they were climbing up. So when they are doing it in the sports, why not on the profession or occupation? And this was the occupation originally. So both men and women were engaged in this, and therefore I want to convey that it is possible. But what is the perception that is prevailing in the society is that women cannot climb because their body may not suit, or it is difficult for women, all such things. Even the kind of dress you wear also will not suit. And this woman is wearing sari only, because in those contexts we didn't have the kind of salvas that we are now commonly using. So in those days, only the women will be wearing the saris only, will climb, used to climb. And you can see how the saris have been tied properly without any distraction, so that they will climb peacefully and extract those liquids and come down. And they will be doing in the dark also. Early morning, you have to go to these trees and collect all those, otherwise it will get spoiled. So such things are also there. So what I'm conveying is that you have to encourage more women, and also training to be offered, so that they will be able to engage in these production. The third one is about a man cleaning the floor. It is also like, if you argue that no, men cannot do at home, then who is doing actually there in the hotel or marriage hall or any streets, whatever. It is all the men who perform all these activities. And therefore, this is a gender politics where in the private context, in the unpaid context, the same work will be done by the woman, whereas in the market context, same work will be done by the men where it is being paid. And therefore, no work in this planet Earth can be claimed that it is the men's work or it is the women's work, unless and otherwise it is being, I'm talking about the gender context, not sex context, because there are some contexts and there are some tasks like women only can give birth to child, women only can become pregnant, women only can menstruate. I don't have any dispute on that. It is naturally given choice to the it's social responsibility to the woman, and therefore it cannot be muted, and it is defined as sex. Whereas all the other activities which I am showing here are gender. So man cleaning the floor is a gender, because this has been expected by the community that it should supposed to be done by the women. Women driving a tractor is again a gender question, because not the women, even we have our own example and experience of working with women who the first call taxi driver in Trichy was a woman. Another woman who learned lorry driving, and she now gathers the banana from Trichy and take to Kerala. And there are women who are bus drivers, who are engine drivers, who are flight drivers, book lane drivers. And therefore, there is maybe it is 1 out of 100, but it is being delivered by women, means all women can do, provided that opportunities are extended, encouragement is given, and proper space is given. If a woman out of 100 drivers are there, then the woman is not being made comfortable, then she will quit the job, because everybody will be like the one we also every March we offer them identify the women who are the achievers in different field. Some 3-4 years back, we did invite a bus driver, first bus driver, Jyoti. So she was sharing her experience that in T Nagar, she will go in the early morning around 4 o'clock. The deep distance of at least some 400 and odd buses will be staying, it seems. And she has to take that and come out. Such a great struggle, but still she has been managing, and she was claiming that she had never had any issue of irregularity or whatever. Of course, there in the bus, the people will be like the main driver, they will also get abused for the kind of overtaking or not taking the bus on time or stopping. All these things are there, but she never failed as a driver just because she happened to be a woman. And therefore, again, it is not only tractor. People drive buses, drive lorries, and this girl I was talking about is a very puny girl, but she takes the load of banana to Kerala, and people appreciate her, and police even the Kerala police also appreciate and give her proper encouragement and don't bribe, all those things shared. By sweeping the floor, like I already told, man cleaning the clothes, cleaning the floor. Likewise, my boy can also do, but only thing that we have to socialize right from the beginning. But when, even including our own mothers, when a boy goes and touches the broomstick, immediately you'd say, no, no. And our grandmothers or grandfathers, whoever, or even fathers, they will also say, no, 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 it is not your task. It is supposed to be delivered by a girl. You are a boy, you are not supposed to touch this. So these kind of teachings, that is what in our theory, gender theories, it's called the gender socialization theory, wherein there is a kind of or social learning theory also. Appreciation for some activity and penalty for some other activity. So appreciation means, say for example, if the boy goes and rides a cycle or rides a two-wheeler or clean those two-wheelers or cycles, the people will appreciate. Whereas if he touches the broomstick and clean the floor, then he won't be. People will say that, no, no, it is not your work. So every day the child will observe, and whatever work you go and do, if they appreciate, then they feel that, oh, this is my work and I have to learn to do. Whereas if you don't say that, I mean, if you prevent them, no, no, this is not your work, and sometimes you penalize them also. They do still engage, you will even go and beat them off. And therefore, whichever activity which has been penalized by the parents or other members of the family, they say, no, this is, that is what I say. It is not the women's task, and it is not the, are the baby girl's task or the boy's task. And accordingly, some activities being penalized, some activity being appreciated. Each child, whether it's a girl or a female, a boy, they will likely to take that, okay, this is my work and I have to do. And that is what the gender socialization theory is all about talking about. So girls flying the kite, of course, many times it is the boys who are encouraged, girls are not. And nowadays it's the girls are also who are doing that. But the issue is, the girls, when they do this, people will say, no, no, you don't do that because you will get hurt, because the twine you have is very hard and tough, rough. The same thing is applicable to the boys also, but they don't bother. Boys can get hurt and they can, but they want the girl to be soft and girls to be not to get hurt, and therefore they don't permit man making dosa. Yeah, when I say that they can clean the floor and the public space, they can also make dosa. But back home, will they do? So that's why, again, going to the same logic, that the same work which is being paid outside will be done by the men, and the same will be done by women when it is not paid. Man helping the child to sleep. See, it has structured in the society such that, in the social constructed context, that the women are giving birth to child, and it is their duty to totally take care of the child. No, Kamala Basin asks a very simple question: in which part of the body the woman cooks, which the men do not have? It is hand only, no? So you have hands and you can go and equally cook and contribute. And moreover, I kept on saying that the largest cooking in any day is done by the men only, because in the hotels, in the marriage halls, or any functions and ceremonies, men cook only are invited, and women will also be there, but not in the cooking. Even in the hostels, very big vessels, except in the ladies' hostel, it is the men who will be engaged in cooking for the sake of lifting the heavy vessels, etc. The women will be doing very menial jobs and also command only the very menial income, whereas they will be doing, they call themselves and those work as hard work, and therefore they climb more wage also. So this kind of discrimination is inbuilt in the system, wherein you continue to, generation after generation, you continue to encourage without rationally questioning, scientifically arguing, and therefore this continues. So in this picture, this guy is making the child sleep. Whether the child may not be knowing whether it is me, the mother, or the grandfather who is really helping him or her to sleep. But normally it won't be. It will be just like expected by the mother only, or the women members of the family, to take care of this. Man dishwashing, I already told, like cleaning, this can also be done, and rarely it is done at home. Women breastfeeding, that is what I said, it is something sex which is natural, and women alone can breastfeed, not the men. Man winnowing, it is normally, now it is all mechanized agriculture, but winnowing is usually done by the women, but men can also do. Man doing rangoli. So normally, whatever I have shown the pictures, I think including people who are present here will agree, yes, it's all can be done by men and women. But the moment I show this picture, people will, no, men cannot do this. But there are evidences to share. I have an interesting story to share. Again, I quote a person from your own South Tamil Nadu. You must have heard about Sa Tamil Chelvan, sir, who was the teacher. Now he is retired. So when he got married those days, his wife is also a teacher. And he just told her that every day I'll do the activities like cleaning the entrance and putting this rangoli and preparing a coffee to you, etc. So you need not have to wake up in the morning, and I don't expect you to do all these work. So the wife also took it in the right spirit, and she was otherwise doing the other work and not bothering to come and do this work. So when every day he came out and cleaned the entrance and was preparing for the rangoli, etc. So yeah, just opposite to his house, there were some 3 women who were just looking at Tamchan sir putting this rangoli, and therefore they just rushed to him asking, why you are doing this? Is a men's job, sorry, women's job. Why you are doing this? If your wife is not doing, it can be at least done by us. So hereafter we will do in the morning, tomorrow onwards, you don't do. So then next day, Tamil spoke up in wake up a little early also, and he went and cleaned all the entrances of the opposite house and all the 3 houses, and prepared these rangoli, etc., and came back and minding him his own house. Then when 3 of them came and just saw that oh, this is what had happened, they immediately rushed to Tamil Selvan saying that, yo, hereafter you don't do for us, at least you stopped doing their own. So this is what the change has to come. See, yesterday they were saying that no, this should not be done by men. At least we will come and do, you don't do. But the next day they at least changed to a certain extent, saying that no, it is better you do mind your work in your own home, not to come and do it for us. So you have to bring, this is a kind of a demonstration that he has done to teach to the society, to inform to the society that there is nothing wrong in doing this work. Stop. After all, it's a work. The moment you say men do this rangoli, you look down upon them. Oh, why? This is after all women's work. But in what we have been doing in our university during this March 8th, we do contest Gender Fest. So there are 2 kind of contests, only meant for boys. That is one cooking competition, the other one is the rangoli. So when this is offered to the boys, they really make the rangoli into a kind of an art, painting, drawings and everything, not rangoli as such, and full of messages. Those prepared by the men who participated in the competition for rangoli competitions, they made it as a rangoli, but there are always some kind of message, something related to the crucial issues of women, etc. So I used to ask the girls to also follow, and you cannot always learn from the boys and men who were ahead of us in occupying the public space, engaging themselves in the public space, and more informed about the public happenings, and historically also. So it is always good to learn from them. So if man does this, we can also learn from them. That is what I used to say. So let that rangoli be common, and let whatever being conveyed by men be conveyed by the girls also. You learn the art of conveying, even converting the rangoli into kind of a message giving painting or whatever. And here is this another picture where the man is drying the clothes. Normally, several men will wash their clothes and dry. But in this picture, it is specifically shown that he is drying the sari. So this is an issue for the Indian men or Tamil men. They will do their own dresses, wash their own dresses, but never make the what I should say, the saris to be washed or dry. So what happened? I just share another story. There was a social welfare officer, director, I should say. He was appointed as director, and in the first or second day, the wife was calling him to go and dry the clothes which she kept there. It had to go to the terrace. So he lifted those things and left for the terrace to see whether anybody is seeing him, and he ensured that nobody was seeing, and dried those clothes and came back. And after some time, some 3 months later, the same man was asked by the wife to go and dry the clothes. In this time, after 3 months of assuming the social director of social welfare, he came up and he was waiting for everybody to see him, that he is drying the clothes, including the saris of the wife, and demonstrated thereby it is equally the responsibility of the man to engage in or share the responsibilities at home. So this is what the kind of sensitivity he got. And I'll be happy if after this discussion, if the participants here also change, some of them. I don't really say that immediately in the next hour you will be changing, you will change, but it will take some time because it has got deep rooted for thousands of years together, and changing yourself overnight is a bit difficult, and it is not possible also practically. But still, at least you have to have the sensitivity in them, and that is what this particular session is all about, like how re-socialization is required. So there are gender stereotype, like what I actually again reinforce the fact is there are several institutions which are actually helping these gender stereotype to continue. So family is the major institution which in a way reinforces the gender stereotype. So right from the child born, and even before that, the people are doing feticide, no? So they have a girl baby born already. It's a challenging task, challenge. It's a great, huge challenge for the woman to give birth to a girl again. Therefore, though PCP and Act prevents the sex selective abortion or revealing of the sex of the child, but they approach any unregistered ultra scanning centers and somehow come to know that this is a baby girl, the second one, and they go for sex selective abortion. And unfortunately, in the recent National Family Health Survey based data was very much informing, that particularly in Tamil Nadu, because we don't have the data beyond census 2011, and we will have 2020, 21, but maybe waiting for 5 more years. So the family is really shaping the gender behavior, gender attitude, and the gendered expectations in the society. And therefore, the moment it is the second girl baby, it is a huge issue for them. Therefore, they go for sexual abuse. That's why the issue starts right from the family. And similarly, even if the baby is spared, the treatment that the second girl baby will be getting, or they may go even for the boy, for the third child. Recently, just yesterday, I was discussing with my colleague there in Chennai, and her neighbor has 6 girls, and 7th one was the boy. I was just comparing this when we conducted a decade back a study there, just opposite our village, university, a village called Mandayur. There I have noticed that there are families with 6 or 7 or 5 or 4 girl babies, and these women were expected to keep on deliver child on the expectation that the next would be the boy baby. But unfortunately, it was not happening. And at least thank those parents who never killed the babies, girl babies. And sometimes it was infanticide. Having given birth to a female child, they will kill the child. And that is not happening, at least. But it doesn't, whether it is the Mandayur, that's a rural area, or there in Chennai, Pakka city, where my friend has also been staying, and she only shared this. Therefore, somehow or the other, it has gone to the minds of the people that the baby boys are the kind of people who will be taking care of the family, future insurance of the family, breadwinner of the family, and perform funeral rites for the parents, etc. And it has been accepted also. And so any context in which we have been all hearing this, there is a patrilocal marriage, and the girl who, our own daughters, I'm referring to our own daughters also, like they will be here with us for 25 years together, and their kind of way of being adopted, including us also, we were also with our own parents. And the moment you marry, you are expected to completely adapt to the condition of the another family, a new family. And people will say that boy who is also equally married and girl, both of them will be staying, sleeping, and they will come out after some time, like in the morning. The girl comes late, it is a big issue. The boy may be sleeping for 10 till 10 o'clock. It is not an issue. People will even say, oh, you must have been tired. He was all the time working, and therefore men should sleep more. But the women should wake up early in the hours. So these are all the things that is being expected. And that too in the patrilocal context, the girls really forego every freedom that they enjoyed at their family and move to a new family where completely a kind of a new atmosphere, and you have to adapt to that. And if you don't adapt, then there will be family quarrels. And if you don't pay proper dowry, which was expected by the family, then you will be harassed, and sometimes it will be even end up with death. So these are the extreme kind of issues that it's all taking place there in your family. So family is the first social institution, and this is followed by education institutions. Whatever is being happened there in the private context, it should have been stopped there itself. But unfortunately, it gets extended to the private context or by a public context also. So there you go to school, and the teacher in the school, even at the primary school, will allot the work, including us, the college teachers, will allot the kind of soft work, the cleaning and staying on the reception with colorful dresses and jewels, and whatever the other kind of getting signature, etc., etc. So some kind of what we define that as soft work. And all the kind of work, I am not saying that it is after the heart, but society says. So like climbing up and setting right the banner, or the operating the LCD, or going out and getting notebooks, or receiving the guest speaker for a seminar, all these done by the men. And it happens to our own context also. During the convocation, we do get some support. Thanks to our university, at least some kind of a change. Even announcement and all will be done by the women, including our own colleague here, Dr. Murgeshwari. And it was appreciated by the Vice Chancellor also. But many a time picking up the guest, and even if it is a woman governor who is happened to be the Chancellor, then women, the faculty colleagues will be attended. Otherwise, you will be in the areas of food distribution, seating arrangements, etc. Something meticulous, something which is related to your hospitality. Those things women will be. And this is happening unconsciously, even including Bharatas University and VOC College. And these are all the products of the socialization. Like that is done in the private context there in the family, which gets extended to the public place. And this is further reinforced there in the society. And there are also other institutions, like it is not, in the beginning itself, I told that it is not just the gender per se, which could be discussed in isolation. Rather, it has to be connected with the other social issues in the society, or social divisions in the society. And that is where the institutions like caste, class, religion, culture, media, literature, epics, state, law, market, etc. comes, including social norms, rituals, customs. In the literature, or in the media, or in the epic, media, of course, how it portrays the women, that itself is an issue. And we see some of the developments taking place. We have in religion certain norms being framed, and that is very much appreciating men to be the leader. Even whether it is Hindu religion, Christian religion, or Muslim, no woman leader in the kind of a pope, or the status of a pope. And similarly, I think in Tamil Nadu we have that Melmaruthur temple and some other temple where women can go on all areas, perform the puja, etc. But it is not allowed in other temples where women are restricted to stay up to a certain point, and they cannot go inside. And there will be obvious discrimination, like they will stop you. If you, even without knowledge, if you enter, they will stop you. So I am afraid any god or goddess, for that sake, any religion will not definitely discriminate based on gender. And media, of course, I should appreciate certain progressive advertisement, because advertisement is one major area where it reinforces gender, reinforces consumerist culture in the current globalization context. And therefore, media, I have seen some of the advertisements like One was about Harlicks, where the girl will be, the woman will be driving the car, and it got stuck somewhere, and therefore she was making call to a mechanic to come. By then, this girl who was the daughter, who was sitting at the back, got down and changed the stepney, and she was wondering how it is possible, and she will say that it is all I learned from my father. And so this is what the progressive advertisement. It is not that you drive the car, that is a progressive message you've shown, but when it got stuck, you won't get into attending that. But here the girl was able to. So that was a progressive advertisement, where this is what the mainstreaming should say, take place. It is perspective of gender. Anybody should, whoever learns the car driving must also learn the mechanism. But it is often like, no, the women cannot do that. That is the kind of a perspective. And we also withdraw ourselves, including me and my colleagues. Like, you will drive the car, but when it comes to changing the stepney, no, it is not a women's task. But here, this particular, this was really showing that off. And you have some similar example. I think in one tea recent advertisement, it was about 3 Roses tea, where the woman, the mother-in-law will be expecting her daughter-in-law to make tea, and the daughter-in-law must have, I think she got the tea made already and kept covered, and mother-in-law did not realize that it was already made and was asking, where is the tea? And she even never expected the response from the daughter-in-law, and they started saying, you are going to work after. She was already a pregnant woman. You must have watched this. But how many of you watched in a perspective? That is what I'm explaining this. And therefore, the moment the mother-in-law said so, immediately, she was saying that, no, it is difficult for you to manage both the child, carrying the child and going to work. So hereafter, you give up work. And then the daughter-in-law will ask, how was the tea? And then she will offer the tea, already kept covered. Then she will ask the mother-in-law whether the tea is okay. And she said, like, the 3 features of the tea, like it is very strong, it is tasty, and whatnot. Similarly, she would immediately say, the daughter-in-law, I will manage both the family and my child, so it is not an issue. So this is what, like, though it is something stereotyping that the daughter-in-law should prepare tea and offer to mother-in-law, but still there is a message. So there are a number of such progressive advertisement coming. So media is, but at the end of the day, the entire media, the silver screen, the serials, there are a number of other advertisement is one component. And so everywhere the progressiveness must be present, so that you will be at least noticed. Like, sometimes you may not notice the with all sensitivity, but later on you will also see, and the men will also notice, oh, it is also our duty to share the responsibility when mother is the wife is pregnant, or wife is with childcare. So that the question of leaving the job, see, nobody will dare to say this kind of give up your work with men. It is only to the women people will say, you give up work, take care of family. Family is the priority. Your child is a priority. Your health is a priority. Give up your work. No men will be told so. So that is what the gender is all about. And state law, market, all these things are also, market means a private law. Law is also highly, see, recent judgments, many judgments are very regressive. And the state also, like, I used to ask one question, why the family planning targets the women? There was a discussion going on in a meeting with the 15 to 17-year-old boys and girls who were the peer educators of HIV passport program, and UNICEF gender sensitization was conducted. So I asked a series of questions, and one question was, why family planning targets women? And the very spontaneous answer from a boy who belonged to this age group of 15 to 17, that yes, we cannot go for the second marriage. That is why we don't go for family planning. And it is often the women who are targeted. And so he is conveying in a way that he is a boy, he will marry, he may go for second marriage, whether wife lives or not, and she has to grow his masculinity by way of giving birth to a child. And if he undergoes this family planning, all these will be stopped. So this is a perception I analyze from the very the response that the man or the boy gave. And therefore it is not just a family alone till the state. So now recently we have been getting some kind of a progressive, like free buses being given. So the mobility of the women is being promoted, and there are a lot of positive developments because of the free buses. People who are used to come with the route buses, long distance buses, also now break into city buses so that they will be free. And college girls are very much appreciative of, because the burden was, see, even in our own class in women studies, people will remain absent because of the need for bus fare. And now it is all being of course there are other some kind of issues that the buses won't stop, or limited number of buses, etc. But still it is there. You have to prepare, because you, when you want to have it free, you have to also forego something else. And that is one reason that the gender socialization is one thing. So the other one is the these are the pictorial presentations there. You have the family, media, school, church, state, etc. again constituting as the major social institutions which are reinforcing gender. And these are again given in a different you also have each institution, what are they do, what do they actually teach us. Like in the family, the kind of acquisition, the relationship, the rules, morals, where do we actually gain the rules to be followed, whether they are the scientifically correct or rationalistically correct. We just follow the rule, what is being told by us, by our mothers or parents, and therefore just follow without questioning whether what is being taught to me is scientifically true or not. Then you have the whole lot of peers, the religion, the government, the media, the work, the ethnic background, because this beliefs and values in particular ethnic community will be different, like tribal community or in the northeast or in the hill station, their communities belief would be totally different. And we have to respect their beliefs and values. But at the same time, if it is against humanity, we have to sensitize that it is not right. For example, in tribal communities, the young baby born will be just born babies will be given kind of burn, seeing that that is a kind of a bearing. They will be able to bear everything if you, in the very birth of the baby itself, burnt is being given. So literally they will go and bring a fire, I mean very rod which were kept in the fire, and just give a kind of lining there on that stomach or wherever it is. It's very disheartening. I mean, will definitely burn and create hurt, but still it is a belief. So those kinds of things we have to really concern with. So that is what I want to really discuss, and finally tell the programs between sex and gender. That is what in the socialization we should understand. So this is something biological. Sex we don't should not confuse with gender, which is a socially constructed norms, behavior, attitude that is being expected from a man or a woman. This is something related to your chromosomes and hormonal states, secondary, given by the nature and cannot change, cannot be mutable. It is immutable. Whereas this is shaped by the society and psychologically determined. Like when you try to deviate any set norms, you will psychologically be questioning yourself also, whether people will accept if I do this, like giving up marriage, or even if you want to get married off, you want to just go for a simple marriage without tying this tali, etc. You have your groups to appreciate, but you have the whole lot of mainstream community which may say that no, you have to go for tying tali. So this is what I mean. No, you will think of, if I go for this marriage, will the people accept all this? There are a number of other examples I can give, but this is one I'm saying. Then So it is scripted by scripted and socially learned, changeable, cultural specific, vary in gender roles. Like the woman who is there in India is not expected to be the same woman there in America or in Europe. And therefore the gender roles also change. There it is compulsory education, compulsory employment. Here you are spared. Even when you are doing school, you will be married off and you will get child when you yourself is a child. And that is what is happening, particularly in the pandemic context. So it is not the issue of that everywhere the gender would be the same. Like this sex would be the same everywhere, whether you born as a woman or a man, it will be the same there in America or other countries. But gender is not so. And when I say sex, it is including the trans sex, sexual personalities called the gender spectrum, LGBTQI plus. And it's, gender is of course very broad based, not just men and women. It includes transgender, the intersex, etc., etc. So we have to re-socialize us on these contexts. We have been told that women are weak, men are strong. We have to re-socialize on that. It is not that men who are going out for work should consume more food than and nutrition than women. It is equally required because women also, those who made a choice to marry and made a choice to deliver a child, need equally the kind of requirement. It is not even simply women, whether married or pregnant, they have to have the proper nutrition to deliver their duties as a human. And there are other statements also here I have given. But ultimately, what I actually want to deliver is that you have to understand what is sex and gender. So women give birth to babies and men do not is a sex statement, because this is something to do with their biology. As average woman is shorter than average man is a gender statement, because it is because of the kind of scenario you find in the society with low nutrition. You don't give same encouragement and training and applause to the women, and therefore they tend to be growing in a situation where men, of course, men are muscularly strong, but doesn't mean that they are also height wise they have to be taller. But unfortunately, it is happening. And partly it is because of the kind of socialization. And among Indian agricultural workers, women are paid 40 to 60% of the male wages. Yes, it is because of gender. Because you have already informed that women will have other work and they cannot do hard work like taking the spade and doing the spade work or plowing in agriculture and saying. And therefore, the wages will also be lower because the menial kind of work, very, very lowly paid jobs are being allocated to women. Though, see, I can give my own example here in university. We offered mason training for 45 women, including transgender. But at the end of the day, after 45-day training, where we have offered them to become masons, they, at the end of the day, they went back and joined as Sital only, not masons. So we are trying and making all efforts, but you are not actually. So this is what it is not. Then men's voices break at puberty is sex, because something to do with your biology. And according to UN, this is a very popular statement. Women do 67% of the world's work. Yet the earnings for it amount to only 10% of the world's income. So all these, in a way, I want to convey that it is gendered in the society. These are the areas of discrimination we are supposed to work on, whether you are a student or a teacher or very ordinary citizen there in the society. You have to be aware of all these institutional differences that is prevailing in the society as areas of gender discrimination. It starts with sex ratio, that is how many female babies per 1,000 male babies. It is on the decline, and the worst condition is, as per the latest National Family Health Survey, it was below 800 in Tamil Nadu, though it was above 900 as per 2011 census. If it happens that for Tamil Nadu, where you claim that you are a progressive state and accords proper place for women, etc., what will happen to women who are there in other states where they are not respected better, nor progressively considering the women as equal to men? Then followed by that, you have a lot of differences existing in the society right from nutrition to health, literacy and education, occupational employment, and participation in decision making. Thanks to now the local body participation in politics also, 50% local body, and you have got an important development in the current election that even a woman from a wage earning community could occupy a place or space of mayor in the society, mayor in certain states, so, I mean districts. So we have ownership, we have marital norms, gender roles, etc. All these manifest into gender-based violence. So the final point I want to convey is that it is not that the discrimination bias per se, the gender discrimination, etc., provide and they don't impact others, but rather they manifest into the kind of violence. So when both men and women are there, when women feel they are subordinate to men, or men feel that they are superior to women, then the all kind of discrimination starts. They boss over, they ridicule you. You will always be in the subordinated, kept under subordinate position, and that is where we had the problems of earlier the context sati, and now moving to the extreme, the honor killing. So what we have to do is, I'll finish with one more slide. The notions of society transformed through the perspective of women's studies, wherein the access to legal rights and property rights must be there. It must be expanded. I already told this resocialization to take place, and in the academic context also, we have to periodically offer gender sensitization to the students and reinforce the fact that women's autonomy is very important. Women's participation in public life is very important. And update the curricula by incorporating the results of new scholarship and issues raised by the lab, particularly the women's studies perspective, where I was talking, we here in Bharadas University introduced the course on gender studies as a foundation course, and help teachers who are aware of non-sexist education. Like, it has to be promoted. We shouldn't be sexist. Being teachers, we always discriminate. What do you mean by sexism? Is discrimination. So you have to be unbiased on your own children. I mean, and students. So you, several studies have proved that the teachers in the schools also focus on boys in terms of answering the questions, coming forward to take up leadership positions, etc. They encourage, whereas not encouraging the girls. So that should be given up, and the curriculum must be designed, redesigned, and get sensitized and sensitize others. Now we are in the process, like we are sensitizing each other, and we should go further to sensitize others, re-socialize on gender stereotype expectation, whatever the period, reinforcement of women should be like this, men should be like this, must be broken, and we have to work on that with all sensitivity. These, I mean, socialize on gender equality right from the childhood. Like, we have already been born and we got socialized, but at least our generation, the student generation, who will likely to get into the society, the family, and getting into married and giving birth to child as per their choice, then it is like these kind of discussions were not there with us, but now you are being open, and there is the state itself is imposing. So you try to do that right from the school, and all the others are all related to that only. And understand that there is no masculine, and there is no glory in maintaining the same. That's what I mean. So similarly, that nothing as feminine, and you not feel degraded on that. So it is a loss of a person, individuals, and society to maintain and practice patriarchy and sustain unequal relationship. That's what it was also informed in the presidential address, that it is not a loss to only the woman. This is about the entire society. So gender equality will promote equal power relationship, gender equal power relationship, and attend the issues of patriarchy. So be aware, be sensitive, and realize and implement gender equality practices wherever there is scope, whether it is a private space or the public space, whether it is your family or public life, your workplace, or the public. Let us create a world where no girls will be unsafe and no boy feel insecure. So with this, I'll stop, and thank you very much, and it is now open for discussion. Whatever questions you have, please do that. Thank you very much.
Wonderful session.
Thank you, ma'am. Now you can clarify your doubts or any comments.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, there is no questions, and there are a lot of appreciations with regard to the presentation, and really it gives the information about the socialization process. Already ma'am touched everything. So whatever it is we talk that we have to implement in our practice, then only we can reach gender equality. So thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah, Chandramati ma'am, you shall.
Infancy?
Ma'am,
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
thank you is the best prayer that anyone could say, said Alice Walker. On this wonderful evening, it is my great privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who have worked really hard to make this session possible. First and foremost, I would like to thank the God Almighty for bestowing His grace for the resounding success of the first day of the 1-week FDP program. My heartfelt gratitude to our most respected principal, Dr. C. Veerabahu, for boosting our department in all our endeavors. I take this golden opportunity to thank our most distinguished speaker, Professor Manimehalai, for enlightening us with your commendable lecture pertaining to the topic gender and socialization. Thank you, ma'am. My sincere thanks to the fellow faculties and the faculty members from different colleges for gracing this occasion. Once again, I thank one and all.